This year we are bringing in a lot of fruit from Raintree Nursery. I have been a customer of theirs for 13 years now. Very happy with them, and when they reached out and asked if I would be interested in receiving some plants in exchange for videos, I just about peed my pants because it's a dream come true for me to be able to talk about them and work with them. The things that we have coming in are all named cultivars. I'm not bringing in any random wild seedlings, and that's one of the reasons that I like Raintree so much, is that they're very particular about what they carry. They try very hard to be specific in their descriptions of what something is going to taste like and what conditions you need to be able to grow it successfully. They're not like Burpee or Gurney's, where they're going to be throwing you 15 plants for a penny each, and then they get here and they're just dead sticks. You're never going to get that from Raintree. And I appreciate that, because in the beginning I did fall into that trap of thinking that, well, more is better. More is not better when you're planting fruit trees that you want to have delicious flavor and be able to have on your property for years to come. Did you feed them? This year I will be planting Asian pears, elderberries, maybe some more gooseberries. I think I put some blackberries on my list, and some Arctic kiwi. So I'm getting a broader range of the things that I've already purchased in the past. I already know that they'll survive here, and my soil is so much improved from the last time that I planted things that I'm really confident that we are going to have some amazing fruit off of these trees. The best time to plant a fruit tree is 10 years ago. The next best time is now. And I really value the health that my kids have in the summer by having fresh eating fruit. But also I really appreciate how it helps my budget to then be able to dehydrate a lot of the fruit that is extra, and can jams and that kind of thing, make fruit leather. But this last year I had so much extra fruit, I made all the jam and the dehydrated fruit that I needed, and then I gave boxes and boxes of fruit to my neighbors, because I just didn't have the need for that much, and that was just off of one peach tree and 2 plum trees. That's it. And they're semi-dwarf. They're not even big full-size trees. They're semi-dwarf trees. And I was able to share my abundance with my neighbors. The difference between the very inexpensive wild crafting trees you see out there and what you will find in a really legitimate orchard catalog is that you have seedlings, which are going to be a wild card, and they're very inexpensive, and generally they're very young. They're just little slips, and they're great for windbreaks and borders and that kind of thing. However, you don't want to rely on them as your main source of fruit for the year, because they can be very unpredictable in what kind of fruit they'll actually produce. So those might cost like $1.50 a piece. Now, if you want a predictable type of non-grafted tree, it's called a named cultivar, and it's like a seedling, except that they breed it true so that the parent and the child are going to have the same flavor, the same growing habits. And so I no longer plant wild seedlings from a nursery. Instead, I plant named cultivars, and they're more expensive. It's $1.50 for a seedling, and it's maybe $12 to $25 for a named cultivar. But it's worth it to have that more predictable fruit. And you can make a hedge out of a named cultivar. You can plant them the same way you would in a border, and generally they're very hardy, and you'll have more fruit than you know what to do with. The next step is a grafted tree. So when they grafted in, they cut off slips, branches at a particular time of year from that peach tree, and they graft it into the rootstock. And so it's a peach tree that's growing, but it has a rootstock from a plum. And it means that you can plant peaches now in areas of the country that you couldn't before, because that rootstock is going to give vitality to that peach tree. So I now, again, only plant named cultivars and grafted trees. The reason for that is that I want my resources, my water, my fertilizer, my space to go to something that's going to give me the biggest bang for my buck, the least amount of work for fantastic fruit. And I think that's really important. As I've aged, I've really seen the cost that is rolled up into growing your own food. And the more you can take the energy down that you have to put in to get that food back as you age, it's really important to have things that are low maintenance, to not have things on hand that need taken care of that don't give you enough back. I have found that most of my fruit fits in my backyard. My semi-dwarfing fruit trees that are grafted, they all fit in my backyard where it's super easy to take care of them. I put them on the borders along my fence. My vegetable garden is on the inside. My ducks are on the inside. My rabbits are on the inside. My quail are on the inside. Everything that produces my food, with the exception of the milk goats, which need bigger pasture, I can produce in my backyard. And it's really important to me to see that, because it means that I don't have to stretch myself too thin. So hopefully this was helpful. And make sure to go check out Raintree Nursery. Their bare root trees are still available right now, but as we get closer to May, they're going to only be offering potted plants, which are much more expensive than bare root trees. When you plant your bare root trees, make sure that you follow the instructions very specifically so that they will come out of dormancy and they will be amazing. And make sure to dig your hole big enough. It all matters later when it comes to having healthy trees, that you get that hole big enough and you follow your instructions and you keep things watered. And they have very good instructions in their boxes. And as I receive their shipment and I start to plant my plants, I will keep you up to date on what I plant and why and where and what I use to fertilize with, and hopefully you'll come along for that. And thanks for popping in, and we'll talk to you later. All right, we're going to go ahead and blanch these guys. That's 10 seconds in boiling water and then directly into ice water, and it'll make it so these will be really easy to peel. We have given away 3 or 4 little baskets of peaches off our tree to friends and family, and we have 5 left to do it for ourselves. I'm going to do a batch or 4 of frozen and then 1 batch of canned. I might do a few dehydrated too. We'll have to see. All right, 10 seconds. Time's up. The reason I don't have it closer to the other pot is because I don't want my ice water on the stove. It'll heat up my ice water. Make sure that when you put your peaches in, or your tomatoes, whatever you're skinning, dang it, what was I going to say? Shoot. I don't remember. Darn it. Make sure they're ripe before you do this. They don't ripen anymore after you've blanched them, so it's not like you can look at them and be like, oh, those weren't ripe. I'm going to let them sit on the counter for a bit. Oh, make sure it is truly boiling before you put them in. If it's not truly boiling, it won't actually make it easier to peel them. You'll still have to peel them instead of them just kind of popping out of their skin. That one I didn't see was bad. I shouldn't have put that one in. It won't hurt anything. I'm probably not going to be able to use it. So I'm going to wait for this to start boiling again before I put any more. Make sure to change positions if you need to. This would cost me anywhere from $2 to $6. They are organic, so probably closer to $4.50, maybe $5 at the health food store. All from a $50 tree we bought 6 years ago. Most of the peaches, you can see some here, have already been harvested. We have taken most of them because the yellow jackets are starting to get into them. So We picked all those yesterday. We left a few for our renters to come and get from last year so that they can have some. I have some bees in here too.